her down. And then for Texas A&M, Aaliyah Patty has been the offense. She's done it facing up. She's done it by knowing that she's been quicker or having a step on her defender. A&M has needed every one of her points to this point in the game to hang in there. I would like to see A&M establish some low post play here in the second half.
In that second quarter, Vandy put together 25 points, their highest scoring quarter in the first half this year on 75% shooting. The issue for Texas A&M, Christy, was fouls. 15 fouls with a number of players having 2 or more fouls in that first half.
Absolutely. I mean, it's hard to get any kind of chemistry going offensively. It's hard to get any flow going when players are going in and out because of the foul difficulties. And the key for A&M is just be more composed. No more over-the-back fouls. No more fouls in rebounding. Yes, be aggressive, but know that there's a player in front of you. Take what the defense gives you and just minimize some of these mistakes.
Green called for the foul. And that is going to be her third foul. So that makes it now 3 players on the floor with 3 or more fouls.
And John, you're seeing this 1-3-1 zone defense that A&M likes to run. It just forces a different kind of prep by teams in terms of getting the ball in, because you do so many plays against maybe a 2-3 matchup or against man. Very few teams have a full arsenal against this 1-3-1.
Trying to get it off the inbounds play to Washington, held on to it, and a foul committed by Texas A&M. So 2 fouls quickly in the first 25 seconds of this third quarter against the Aggies.
And I can't stress this enough. When you're facing a team in Vanderbilt who has struggled to consistently score in their offense, don't give them freebies. Don't put them at the free throw line. This is why I keep harping on A&M just needs to be more disciplined and stop some of these fouls.
The sophomore Kindred now on the bench with 4 fouls. Malone and Green each with 3. So Petticourt comes off the bench for Joni Taylor, who I think in this situation, Christy, you would agree, is fortunate to have more than 7 players on the roster based on the foul trouble.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen her during that stretch with only 7 players, play players in the first half with 3 fouls out of necessity. Today, she was able to sit them because she had those extra bodies on the bench.
Keep in mind, when those 7 players were the only active on the roster for the Aggies, Joni Taylor, during finals break, had 5 at practice, and she entered that week saying, you know, we're going to practice, we're going to find out quickly who you are, as Bowles off the mark with the 3. And she talked about that SMU game being that pivotal game to which, if they did not win, the direction of the season could have gone a different way.
Well, and I think that SMU game in a nutshell is just how good of a teacher and motivator Joni Taylor is. I remember like following that game that day and watching it and knowing it was key, because SMU, first of all, is good. Second of all, we all know about the rivalries within the state of Texas, so that was big. But knowing how depleted this team was due to injuries, for this team to bounce back, play together, and get that win, I thought was absolutely huge for the season.
A&M has missed their last 10 shots, trailed by 8. Harbison, great bounce pass in the low post. Chambers could not complete the play, and Malone is there for the rebound.
And John, more importantly, Malone was there for the rotation. She saved 2 points there for Texas A&M.
Brown on the takeaway, leads to transition. This is what Vanderbilt likes to do. Go up-tempo in transition. Chambers, one-on-one with Patty, counted, and the foul.
Great job by Chambers. Does a little head fake and then drives at the angle to get into Patty. Basically nullifies her ability to block a shot by cutting the angle, getting even, and then using the up and under to draw the foul.
Patty just picked up her 3rd. Meanwhile, Chambers, very much into her music career, has multiple singles released on Spotify. Just got a violin this past Christmas and learning how to play it. Very talented on and off the court. Still no answer by A&M. That's 11 in a row missed by the Aggies. Second chance, screen, counted, and the foul. A much-needed play for Texas A&M.
And as much as we talk about the bigs for A&M, here it was the guards, the littles, keeping the play alive. Petticord finding Green on the weak side, drawing the foul and the and one.
And for Vanderbilt, Sasha Washington has just picked up her third foul. As Green to the free throw line, Joni Taylor saying this week that she had to learn the point guard role, trying to figure it out on her own. That was the theme from both head coaches to their players this week about figuring it out on the court. Can't just keep looking over at the bench every time.
You're easy to scout if you're a team that every play is coming from the coach. Because especially come conference time, you're well scouted. Teams will take away. And I love what both coaches were saying. For Shea Ralph, she said, I realized from watching film, from watching my players, that they had to start figuring things out. So she said, that's how we dictated practices this week. Joni Taylor knew it in the preseason.
Left open for three. Back-to-back threes for Vanderbilt. Texas A&M needs a timeout. Largest lead for the Doors, 49-35. Just about 2.5 minutes into this third quarter. Shea Ralph and Vanderbilt closing in on their first win in SEC play this season. And Christy, that last play to break, a microcosm of what we've seen from Shea Ralph in her tenure with the Doors.
Well, it starts with the defense, and she said we need to be better. They shoot the gap. Chambers, head up, just kicks it out. Wide open. Jada Brown knocks it down, forcing the quick timeout by Texas A&M.
Everyone on this Vanderbilt roster, all 8 active players, have contributed in some fashion. Here's how the shooting is broken down. Free throw shooting. It's the reason why Vanderbilt is number 2 in the SEC. More importantly, though, points off turnovers have been the deciding factor in this game, Christy. 15 points for Vandy off the 12 turnovers by Texas A&M.
Absolutely. I mean, I've talked about A&M has not won on the road yet this season. Part of it has been their defense has let them down. The second part has been turnovers, as we're seeing here yet again today.
Full court pressure applied by this defense. Able to break through is Hilton. Has had a quiet performance in her second game back. Patty with the offensive rebound leads to second chance points. And she's in double figures with 11.
And that's a great just response by Texas A&M. First shot not there. Resiliency, which is what you have to have on the road.
Gerard with the last made bucket. She's into double figures with 10. Part of that dynamic duo with her and Harbison, the transfer from Boston College, who's been an integral part to the lineup for Shea Ralph. Barker down low to Patty, splits the double team. A beautiful move from the transfer from Ohio State, who's got the last 4 for the Aggies.
And that was great mature offense by Texas A&M. Realizing the mismatch down low with Patty, they get it into her.
She had the career high 11 assists versus Georgia today, 6 of 6 from the floor. Allen off the three-point miss into the hands of Bowles. Hilton to the corner. Bowles trying to feed it inside to Patty, who draws a double team and a foul. Keep in mind, this week's Thursday night women's basketball doubleheader highlighted by the top team in the nation, Aaliyah Boston, and number 1 South Carolina, going to go up against Kentucky in the 7 o'clock hour. And then we're going to go to Mizzou Arena in Columbia for Vandy and Missouri. Another great night of hoops right here on the SEC Network and on the ESPN app. The matchup I think everyone is talking about, Christy, with South Carolina has to be the matchup in February. Circle it on the calendar against LSU. Right now, the last 2 undefeateds left in women's college basketball.
Well, I'll one-up you. I think everyone's talking about tomorrow night, first of all, with LSU having Tennessee coming to town.
Foul on Barker, and so that is a matchup getting to see Tennessee, who earlier this month faced off against Vanderbilt. That's a team that was preseason number 5 in the country, a Final Four team by many. Had a tough game against UConn. But yeah, I agree with you too. LSU and Tennessee is going to be a matchup to watch for. And keep in mind as well, South Carolina still has to face UConn coming up on February 5th.
Well, bottom line, if you're a basketball fan, we just have a slew of great games coming up. And here's the bottom line. If you're a Tennessee fan, no need to worry. There's not a bad loss. That was a very difficult schedule that they put together, and I think they're paying dividends because they're playing better basketball. Now, the key for me is, do they regroup in time to play a really good LSU team that is sold out for tomorrow night? Should be an electric environment.
Brown to the bench for their 3rd foul. By the way, on that possession for Texas A&M, they were able to draw 4 fouls against Vanderbilt as Bowles to the free throw line. The number 37 recruit in last year's recruiting class, right now studying mechanical engineering. A little bit different than my degree in broadcast journalism, Christy.
And it's time for Texas A&M to get back to what they've been doing well, and that's playing defense. Already given up 51 points. They only have allowed opponents 52 on the season.
Empty possession for Vanderbilt as Texas A&M trying to get this game down to single digits. Green the double team. Great feed, finding an open Barker in stride. .6-0 run for the Aggies as Barker with her first made field goal of the day. Has 4 rebounds and 2 assists to her credit. Allen off the feed from Gerard, knocks it down from beyond the arc.
Well, Aaliyah Patty got caught having to help because her teammate fell down. Great extra pass by Vanderbilt to find Allen for the 3.
Allen's been putting up some impressive points. 6 in 10 minutes of action. Off the steal, Harbison to the deck. And what a turnaround it's been for Vanderbilt so far in terms of points off turnovers. 17 off the 13 from Texas A&M. 3 answered by Hilton.
I mean, John, we're talking about 2 teams who have struggled consistently throughout SEC play to score. And now, here in the 3rd quarter, we're getting offense.
Just saw a jolt of energy over the last 2 minutes in this 3rd quarter by both sides. Great backdoor cut. Allen Able to find Harbison. Takes us to a timeout. Harbison will go to the free throw line when we come back. In transition, leading to points, Harbison and Vanderbilt inching closer to their first SEC win. Shea Ralph has let it be known that she wants to put people around her players who have had great success. Katie Lou Samuelson certainly falls into that category. 6 days ago was hired as the Director of Player Development, a two-time All-American at UConn, helping the Huskies win a national championship in 2016. And I thought it was interesting, Christy, in the description of Katie Lou by Shea Ralph, who she coached at UConn. She's the cool kid, the cool aunt that comes in, and her players immediately taking to the hire.
Well, coaches have the same language. They say the same things, and it's just like a parent. You need the cool aunt to really hit home with a message sometimes. But I love this for Vanderbilt. I love this for women's basketball. And I agree with Shea Ralph when she says it's kind of like we hit the lottery, because I think this is a win-win for the team. This is a win-win for the players. I think it's a win-win for the staff and a win-win for Katie Lou.
Yeah, as it was described to us, she came into the fill room, burst of positive energy that we desperately needed. And so you have the pedigree of what Shea Ralph did in her time at UConn, both as a player and as a coach. You only add to that with Katie Lou Samuelson now on the staff as well. So Harbison knocking down the free throws makes it a 57-46 lead for Vanderbilt, as Texas A&M looking to somehow rally here in the later stages of this third quarter.
No, and I don't want A&M. I mean, they're not going to get back in this game in one possession. They're shooting quickly, some threes, as we just saw. It hasn't been a strength of theirs on the season, only shooting 27%. I still think the strength needs to be to get the ball inside, at least get a post touch, then kick it out, or look for layups right now.
Jump ball with the possession arrow to Vanderbilt. So they will have it here with 3:44 left to play in this third quarter. Last time Vanderbilt started 0-7 in SEC play back in the 2016-2017 season. They eventually went on to win their 8th game at Memorial Gymnasium versus Alabama. But with the injuries to presumably starters, 3 of them before the season even started, this Vanderbilt team was put behind the 8 ball, and they have fought their way through as much as possible.
The conference season's a grind. and you just got to stay true to the process, get better every day. And this is a team that's rejuvenated since their bye. They're executing well. We see Allen get the easy look down low. You just see confidence right now. And where does confidence come from a lot of times? Just reps, finding success in practice.
Allen up to 8 points, 3 of 5 shooting in 11 minutes on the floor for the Doors. Jones returning for the Aggies, back from a back injury and a foul that goes against Allen. That'll be her third. So the foul trouble building up not only for Texas A&M but for Vanderbilt. Jones knocking down the first. Right now Texas A&M perfect from the free throw line. Tomorrow night, SEC Inside grants you an all-access pass to the Florida women's basketball team at 10 Eastern Time. And then we'll go all-access with the LSU men's program. You'll get never-before-seen footage and sound from players and coaches. A real behind-the-scenes look right here on the SEC Network. As Washington with a response on the other end for Vanderbilt. KK Green, the junior, beautiful move with the layup and finish.
And that's what I mean. The press hasn't necessarily turned A&M over, but they've been settling for shots. Love that shot by KK Green of getting all the way to the rim.
Former 5-star recruit. She's into double figures along with Patty. 11 for the junior from Chicago. Off the backboard and in for Harbison, who continues to build upon her point total, make it 23 points. Here for the transfer from St. Louis. Hilton goes right through that defense of Vanderbilt and has an answer. Barker there pleading her case. That'll be her 4th foul. So a much different story that we have seen from the Georgia game to now here today for the freshman star, who's been limited to 6 points on 1 of 3 shooting with 4 rebounds and 2 assists.
Well, and I can't say this enough. This is a true freshman who might as well be playing her first collegiate game. Yes, she played the first 7 games before injury, but this has been 10 games that she missed. It's getting back in the flow, and you're seeing her frustration as Joni Taylor's just trying to talk to her and calm her down, because she's going to go back, and she needs to be ready to make an impact for the Aggies when she goes back.
Again, missed 10 games due to a fractured wrist in her shooting hand. Suffered that injury November 30th versus Kansas, but on the bench with 4 fouls. Kindred also has 4. Washington in front of a double team, no. Trying to sky in for the rebound was Washington. And there's a tie-up with Malone.
That was great effort by Washington. Unfortunately, as she was going for that rebound, she was stepping out of bounds. So, therefore, Texas A&M ball.
So, Christy, build me the blueprint then. If you're Texas A&M, how do you break this deficit knowing the type of foul trouble that you have at this point? As Jones counted in the foul.
First of all, you forget about the foul trouble because it's about the 5 players on the floor at the moment. And what we've seen this 3 possessions, they've been aggressive in the press breaker. They've looked up the floor. They've kept their head up to find the open player. This time it's Kindred getting to the free throw line. But high percentage looks. Don't settle for the shots Vanderbilt wants you to take. That's where I feel like they got into trouble during this deficit. Now you're seeing them get to the rim, getting the high percentage looks, and they're converting.
Washington
and then they got to get the stops.
Foul.
Yeah, sorry, John. I was going to say, and then probably more importantly, the defense needs to come to play now.
I agree with you on that point. 11-point lead, making a 14-point lead. Harbison from beyond the arc, 26 points for Kaija Harbison.
And maybe more specifically right now, you need to make someone else besides Harbison beat you, because defense is near her. It does not matter. This young lady is on fire.
Her career best, 34 versus NC State. She's now got 9 games of 20 or more points. Reason why she's second in the conference in scoring. Green thought about it, drives right through. Good look to Malone, off glass and in.
So 4 straight field goals for Texas A&M. Where have they come from? At the rim. Much better job executing for the Aggies. And now, can they get a stop? Can someone else be forced to score besides Harbison? And no is the answer.
Jones coming down hard on Harbison to commit the foul. And you put the #1 shooter to the free throw line for Vanderbilt.
Well, we've talked about how explosive Harbison is, but look at the change of speed. That gets the step on the defender. Then she knows that she's behind her, so she just jump stops and draws the foul.
Jones picks up her first foul. So here's a look at the line by Harbison today. 26 points, 9 of 13 from the floor, but the steals matching a season high that she did so against Florida with 5 here today. There's a reason why they call her Crafty Kaija. I would have said Crafty Kaija Christie, but that's pretty hard to repeat more than once. Lead up to 14, under a minute to play in this third quarter. Mackenzie Green, 23 in maroon. 10 left on the shot clock for Hilton. One-on-one with Brown. Down to 5. The feed from Patty down low to Malone. Good defense in front of her. Now Vanderbilt can hold for the final shot of this third quarter. Down to 5 for Harbison. Spots up, knocks down the 15-foot jumper. 30 points in this game for Kaija Harbison.
Well, Kaija Harbison has been on fire from deep, off the bounce, getting to the rim. Vanderbilt up big, heading to the fourth. Welcome back to Nashville, where Vanderbilt's up big, mainly on the shoulders of Harbison. Why? 10 of 14 in field goals, and these haven't been easy points, but she has been that good, creating space for the pull-up jumper, reading the defense when they go under, splitting defenses, getting to the rim. Kaija Harbison has just been spectacular here this afternoon.
There's a reason why she, along with Marnell Girard, have been the 1-2 dynamic duo, if you will, this season for Vanderbilt. 40 points combined on 13 of 20 shooting. For Harbison, though, focusing on her performance today, third time she has hit 30 points in a season, did so against Lipscomb and NC State. But what a performance she has been able to put together. And Shea Ralph talked about this in our conversations, Christy, about how great players don't get tired. that was one of the things that she was preaching to us. And you can certainly put Harbison in that category this year for Vanderbilt.
Well, I know for me, when I was hitting, I never felt tired. I think players get tired when they're not hitting and things are hard. But to be serious here, Harbison is well-conditioned. She's had this load on her throughout this season. She's used to it. She's risen to the occasion in a big way here this afternoon.
Aggies have some work to do if they're going to climb back and try to make it back-to-back conference victories. Malone, the kick out to Green. Defender in her face and still knocks down the three-point shot.
Great ball movement by Texas A&M. Ball reversal, ball goes inside, ball goes out. That's a high percentage look.
By the way, offensively for Vandy, that was just the third quarter this year out of 87 where Vandy went for 30 or more in a quarter, as they have stretched it out to a double-digit lead here to start off this fourth quarter.
Well, and if I'm Texas A&M, no need to panic. It is one possession at a time, but it needs to be 5 players executing. And there you see a foul on Vanderbilt as they get called trying to defend that diagonal back screen.
Foul goes against Chambers. That's going to be her third. The fresh 20 for Texas A&M. Patty, 13 points, looking for more. And called for the offensive foul as Demi Washington, great senior move there to take the charge.
Shea Ralph told us she wanted her team to play better defense, and they have responded. That time, Washington rotating over to draw the charge.
Patty picking up her fourth. She, along with Barker and Kindred, all have 4 fouls for the Aggies. As the list continues to grow in terms of foul trouble for Texas A&M, so Barker comes off the bench with those 4 fouls. The key storyline here, Christy, today has been the turnovers by Texas A&M, 15 of them, and the opportunities that Vanderbilt has been able to capitalize off those turnovers.
Absolutely, and then when you add in the free throws that A&M has allowed Vanderbilt to convert, it's just been a perfect storm for Vanderbilt to exploit, and unfortunately for A&M, they're just digging a hole.
Just saw Barker before using that 6'4" length to her advantage on the rebound.
Vanderbilt
Hilton, the
switching all
talented
these
sophomore.
screens.
Green inside. Great feed to Malone for the bucket.
Again, another high percentage look for A&M, using their height advantage, being patient, getting that high-low pass for Malone to go score. And A&M switching to a 2-3 matchup now in the half court.
Harbison works it inside. Good passing. Chambers left alone, one-on-one with Malone. Good defense there by the sophomore as Barker wants to run. Malone can't capitalize. It'll stay with Texas A&M. And a new 20 on the shot clock for the Aggies. Timeout taken on the floor. 7:54 left to go in the fourth. Vanderbilt inching ever so close to their first SEC win of the season. Here's a look at the current standings in the SEC. Texas A&M and Vanderbilt trying to fight their way out of the bottom four to avoid playing in the first round of the conference tournament. When you take a look at the layout right now of this conference, what do you make of the landscape, Christy?
Well, first of all, I mean, the top is really, really good. Two of the remaining undefeated teams in the country. And then what I see is a lot of basketball left. I mean, if I'm in that bottom 7 right now, no need to be discouraged. We still have a month of games left. But for Vanderbilt, the first and most important game is right now, finishing this fourth quarter to try to get that first win in SEC play.
Georgia and Missouri, two teams on the bubble, according to Charlie Cream. I think the interesting one is in that 4 spot. Is it Ole Miss? Is it Alabama? Who's the fourth best team right now in the conference? As Green lets it fly. Big play out of the timeout for Texas A&M to cut it to single digits.
Well, if you look head-to-head, you've got to go with Alabama right now, who beat Ole Miss on the road, who beat Arkansas on the road. I think today's game, Ole Miss at Arkansas, is huge in terms of how that fourth place potentially could shake out.
Alabama has won 3 straight on the road for the second time in 25 years. As Chambers with an answer for Vanderbilt that ends the run for the Aggies. Think about how Texas A&M started this game. A 7-0 run. We're 8 of 13 from the floor. And since that dominating performance in the second by Vanderbilt, they've been able to hold, for a majority of the time, a double-digit lead on the Aggies.
Well, it's been the tremendous shooting by Vanderbilt. It has been some good defense that started the game for them. And then it has been the miscues by A&M. What we're seeing now in the latter part of the third into this fourth quarter, they're taking better care of the ball. They're getting high percentage looks. And KK Green is starting to heat up here offensively for the Aggies as well.
Came in shooting over 60% after her last 3 games. 17 points today. Barker back on the board, make that now 8 points for the freshman star. 2 of 4 shooting, along with the 6 rebounds. And it's back down to an 8-point deficit for the Aggies. Harbison, short jumper, no, but she was fouled on the shot attempt. And if that's against Barker, that's going to be her 5th.
I think that's on Hilton. And I was just about to say, ever since A&M's gone to the matchup, they've done a better job of containing defensively and not fouling until that last possession.
Foul goes against Hilton. Keep in mind our college basketball doubleheader for Wednesday night right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Wendell Green Jr. leading number 15 Auburn against Georgia in the 7 o'clock hour. That'll be followed by KJ Williams and LSU taking on Kobe Brown and Missouri. Keep in mind that Brown sat out Saturday's game against Alabama with an ankle injury. Should be back for that one. 2 great games that you can check out on the ESPN app and here on the SEC Network. .635 left to go. Vanderbilt with a 75-66 lead and a foul that's going against Gerard. That's going to be her 3rd. For the transfer from Boston College.
I like going to the full court pressure by Vanderbilt. You realize A&M starting to get in a flow offensively. They've been able to exploit it and get the ball inside, extend the defense. Unfortunately, though, Gerard picks up the foul.
Inside, where Malone was met by a double team in the low post, but does get foul committed by Chambers for Vanderbilt. That's going to be her 4th.
A&M runs a lot of good sets against the zone. They know how to overload. They know how to basically force rotations to get the mismatch down low. That time they had that with Malone and got the foul.
Barker's got to be careful playing with the 4. Spin around fader does not drop for the freshman. Harbison, and she drew contact, much to the disagreement of Janiah Barker. Green's going to be called for the foul. That's going to be her 4th. So you've got 4 players for Texas A&M. 2 of them on the floor right now playing with those 4 fouls. Chambers on the baseline, kicks it out to Harbison. Back to the corner, and a miscommunication on the pass leads to a turnover.
Well, and obviously a lot of foul trouble for A&M. The key now for Vanderbilt is, can they exploit it when they get the ball back on offense? And if I'm A&M, you cannot think about the fouls. You have to get aggressive offensively. And what I mean by that, don't force things, but ball reversal against this zone, and then look to get the ball inside.
Off the miss, Malone was trying to fight for the loose rebound. Another foul commits by Vanderbilt, and that's going to be the end for Chambers. Gabrion Chambers, who finishes this game with 11 points, 4 of 7 shooting, 5 rebounds and 5 assists.
And what won't show up in the stat sheet is just how good she has been defensively.
Whistle prior to the inbounds.
Demi Washington just forearm closed Barker, tried to cut to the rim.
Washington picks up her third. So let's take a look at that last foul here, Christy.
Well, it's just a diagonal upstream, and Washington's trying to check. Barker may have been a little dramatic as well. But you can't displace by any means. And it is a foul. But when I first watched it, I thought it was a little bit higher to the face. But Demi Washington definitely.
The previous play is under review to determine if anything intentional happened.
5'10" going up against 6'4". As the officiating crew is going to look at this one, our officials Brian Garland, Bill Lawrence, and Carla Fountain.
Well, and honestly, if Washington doesn't do the bump there, Barker's going to be wide open for an easy 2. So I think if you're Shea Ralph, you take that foul there and make Texas A&M have to execute. I mean, it's a foul. I don't think there's going to be anything more to this.
Barker, perhaps maybe on that replay, a little bit of acting. I mean, she is a journalism major. She's had a television career in the making. Mountain Verde Academy. She was part of the communications program there, where she would fill in and host ESPN's version of NBA Today. I mean, she certainly is charismatic. I thought her performance against Georgia, really to put a bow on it, was the embrace that she had with Joni Taylor at the end of that game, where even Joni said, you might want to calm down. It's just one game.
After review, the call on the floor stands. Common foul, 2 free throws for number 2 Texas A&M.
For their coach. Joni Taylor never made it about herself, but the players knew, and they wanted to get that win for her.
And I give a lot of credit to Joni Taylor. The first thing she said in her post-game press conference was, this was 7 games in the making for those 7 players that fought so hard to get to this point. She gives so much credit to those 7 who persevered the adversity of all the injuries that the Aggies have endured this season.
Well, I asked her last night, I said, Joni, are you going to look back in a couple of years of that stretch of games where you only had 7 players? And she just smiled because it was pride. She was so proud of those 7 players and how they persevered during that stretch and how they got better, how they became better students of the game, watched film better, became better practice players. That's how you elevate a program. That's how you build a program the right way.
7 years at Georgia, SEC Coach of the Year, multiple appearances in the NCAA tournament for Joni Taylor. Meanwhile, stat to keep in mind down the stretch, Texas A&M 15-0 in second chance points. Reason why they've been able to keep it close with Vanderbilt. Washington has to be careful playing with those 4 fouls. Harbison, and she was bumped by Hilton, and that's going to be Hilton's second.
Well, the matchup zone has definitely slowed the execution of Vanderbilt down. The key right now for Texas A&M is, can you execute this matchup zone without fouling and putting Vanderbilt back on the free throw line, where they've already had 20 of their 75 points here this afternoon.
Trying to get it off the inbounds. Washington blocked by Barker and mishandled it was Green. Out of bounds. A missed opportunity for Texas A&M and a costly turnover.
Well, it was great defense, first of all, by the Aggies. They wall up, grab the ball, and then it's almost just like Green took her eye off the ball or wasn't expecting Barker to give her the outlet pass there.
An uncharacteristic mistake made by the junior point guard, KK Green. Harbison gives it off to Washington. High off glass, forcing it, gets it right back. Left to Harbison for three, got it to go.
Great decision by Washington to kick it out. One of the highest percentage looks in our game is the second chance opportunity from three, and Harbison just makes the Aggies pay.
She matches her season high with 34 points, did so earlier in the year against NC State. 11 of 15 shooting for the St. Louis transfer. What a performance today by Harbison.
Well, John, there's hot, and then there's Harbison hot. Because it doesn't matter where right now. If she is getting her feet set, if she's getting shoulder squared, that ball's going down.
Washington out of this game as well. 35 in gold. Sasha Washington picking up her fifth foul. So we're doing the math here, Christy. Shea Ralph's only got 6 players left to work with.
Well, and it's this diagonal back screen that Texas A&M keeps setting that keeps drawing fouls on Vanderbilt.
So you're left with Harbison, Washington, Gerard, LaChance, Allen, and Brown if you're Shea Ralph.
And Allen's the tallest right now at 6'1".
Been a focal point all year long for Vanderbilt. They've had issues boxing out. They're last in the SEC in rebounding. LaChance spots up for an open three and knocks it down. How about that for Bella LaChance?
I'm just going to be honest. I was going to be like, no, no, no. And then I was like, yes, when it went down. I thought that was a little early for Vanderbilt, but great job by LaChance.
What an answer for Vanderbilt to extend this lead back to double digits, 81-69 as we close upon the final 4 minutes. Hilton with a great drive and a finish with the right hand.
Again, A&M getting to the rim. No need to panic, but Texas A&M has to get a stop here defensively.
Allen looking for help. Back up to LaChance. They work it to Harbison on the right wing. Short jumper dropped for Harbison. 36 points on the day for Kaija Harbison.
And if you're Vanderbilt, you can't ask for more. You got ball reversal. You took some time off the clock. Then you got it to your leading scorer who just went to work. What a beautiful shot.
A new season high, 36 points, 12 of 16 shooting for Kaija Harbison. Carrying this team on her back. Patty, great feed left by KK Green. And every time Vanderbilt scores, Texas A&M has an answer. Do they have a run late in this game?
Well, there's not going to be a run if they can't get a stop defensively. So somehow they have got to make someone else score here besides Harbison.
The give off to Washington, who draws the contact immediately. Bulls picking up her third foul. And Southern Hoops, a history of SEC basketball, our highly anticipated 7-part documentary. Every Monday through March 13th, we'll have a new show with the premiere episode tomorrow night at 9 Eastern here on the SEC Network, looking at the years from 1930 to 1959, from Naismith to Rupp, highlighted by Adolph Rupp's arrival at Kentucky, the formation of the SEC, and the birth of Patricia Head, who would be known later as Pat Summits. It's going to be an incredible watch. Check it out. Southern Hoops, a history of SEC basketball. Three from Hilton in the corner, no, off the mark. Washington there picks up the loose rebound.
And so not time for A&M to foul yet at all, but I've said the last couple of trips, they have got to get a stop defensively.
Vanderbilt's knocked down their last 3 shots. Shea Ralph wants a timeout with 11 left to go on the shot clock. Harbison, 36 points. She's done a little bit of everything in this game, Christy.
Well, she's done a little bit of everything, and she's scored in a lot of different ways. Off the bounce from three, the in-out from three, splitting defenses, splitting defenders, getting all the way to the rim, using the pull-up jumper, using just change of pace, change of speed, change of direction to create scoring opportunities.
36 points, 5 steals, which has been a part of her game, a reason why she's second in the SEC in scoring, number 1 in the conference in minutes. Coming over from St. Louis, and Shea Ralph talked about it. She came in with the expectation of a certain role, but because of the injuries to Jordan Cambridge, to Ayanna Moore, and Kaylin Smith, her role has changed, and she has become the number 1 option this year for the Doors.
Hey, when opportunity knocks, you got to answer, and that is exactly what Kaiser Harbison has done this season. And I remember talking to Shea Ralph at Media Days, and the grin on her face when she talked about Marnell Gerard and Kaiser Harbison. She said, I've got some new players that are going to be great players for us.
Harbison now has a career high tying 36 points. That equals what she posted against St. Bonaventure back on September 9th of 2022.
Huge rebound for Vanderbilt, huge.
Interesting to think that the Achilles heel for Vanderbilt's been what could be the changer in terms of their performance today.
Well, we've talked a lot about Texas A&M's turnovers, but I need to compliment Vanderbilt as well. Only 8 turnovers on the afternoon, a team that came in averaging 15. They've taken care of the ball, they've converted at the free throw line, and they've taken advantage of the miscues of Texas A&M.
Harbison at the point.
And Harbison's been great too.
Chantel Anderson, who's in attendance for this game, former SEC Player of the Year, has the record for points in a game with 41. Harbison's only 5 away from tying that. It's a missed opportunity on the layup. And now you got to think, if you're the Aggies, you got to start fouling.
Absolutely, and it doesn't look like they are.
Not with Harbison at the point with her 36 points. Sees a lane, drives it. That type of day for Kaiser Harbison. A new career high, 38 points on the day for Vanderbilt.
She's fast, and she's so good at turning the corner off of that high on-ball screen.
Barker launches off a 3 off the mark. Held to 9 points in this game, along with 9 rebounds. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Harbison, with that shot?
I'm speechless. I didn't think A&M was going to foul, and then you definitely don't want to foul her as she's going up. I mean, John, I can't even express to you just how difficult that shot is, yet how easy Kaiser Harbison makes it look.
I mean, look at the teammates' reaction. Bella LeChance in the background. Harbison, if she makes this free throw, would tie Chantel Anderson's performance of 41 back in 2001 versus Mississippi State. And with that, she now has matched the most points in a game in Vanderbilt program history with the 41.
You brought up Chantel Anderson's 41 points about a minute ago, and I'm like, she's not going to get to it. And Harbison just continues to make me look silly today. I mean, outstanding performance by her, but also team performance as well. Her teammates have set screens, have gotten her the ball when they needed to for her to have this career night.
Patty with that last made basket. 17 points for her on 8 of 9 shooting, 3 rebounds and 2 assists. And now 18 points, a new season high for the Ohio State transfer. Now the question becomes, Harbison, does she get the record? She's got 41.
A&M's not going to foul. I imagine Shea Ralph's just going to let this clock go down as low as possible and then just have her go to work and try to get to the rim.
Shot clock down to 10. One-on-one is Harbison with Mackenzie Green. Crossover dribble. Spots up. Front ironed it. And Texas A&M on the road is going to fall to Vanderbilt here this afternoon. Patty, one last heave, knocks down the three, but too little, too late. Vanderbilt, after an 0-7 start to conference play, picks up their first win in the SEC this year, thanks to the performance of Kaija Harbison. 41 points, a new career high, tying a program record. 14 of 19 shooting. What a day for the St. Louis transfer.
And John, sometimes we see these big point performances and people are putting up 30-something shots. This was a very efficient game by Harbison, and she was just so good.